Poverty Alleviation, Programs and Policies, Growth-Oriented Approach. Tell me what you will do to handle a simple problem like plants under development in a specific park.
Well, simple. I will collect more money and resources from the nearby colonies to spend in making sure that this portion of the park has access to sunlight, water, air, fertilizers, and pesticides.
Similarly, government collects taxes from all of us, and one of the major focuses of its spending is towards poverty reduction. Government's approach to poverty reduction has three dimensions. The first one is growth-oriented approach, the limitations of which we have already discussed. The key initiative that government is taking in this direction is to move farmers to more productive sector. In the 11th plan, government has clearly mentioned that growth should be better balanced to rapidly create jobs for wide variety of Indian labor force in the industrial and services sectors. It is necessary that if a significant portion of them are to shift out of agriculture, they have to shift from low productivity employment into a non-agricultural activity that can provide higher real incomes per head. This must be accompanied by efforts to improve the income earning opportunities of those who remain in agriculture by raising land productivity. This process would also lead to higher farm incomes and a rise in real wages of agriculture labor, whose bargaining power will improve as surplus labor is shifted out of this sector. The ability to create jobs will be enhanced by greater labor flexibility, which may require some changes in labor laws. There is room for creating greater flexibility there. Also, the ability to sustain a labor-intensive growth process in today's knowledge and skill-driven economy depends crucially upon the expansion of skill capabilities in the labor force. Specific programs for development of skills at all levels will be a part of the 11th plan. Poverty alleviation, programs and policies, self-employment and wage employment programs. Hats off to our policymaker. They were aware of this inherent limitation of growth approach. Hence, right from 1960s, they were and are looking for alternatives to specifically address the poor needs. The main focus of the government policy initiatives is how incomes and employment for the poor could be raised directly through the creation of additional assets and by means of work generation. With this specific objective in mind, specific and direct poverty alleviation programs are always the key agenda for the policymaking. The program for creation of additional assets by means of work generations have been broadly classified into self-employment programs and wage employment programs. Let's see each of them one by one. Self-employment program. This program was started in 1970s in rural areas of the country in the name of Integrated Rural Development Program IRDP to increase the source of income of small farmers and landless laborers. The benefits. The beneficiaries were given subsidized credit, training and infrastructure so that they could find and create new sources of earning themselves. In this scheme, agricultural laborers and small farmers received new skills to involve in vocations other than cultivating land. They included fishery, animal husbandry, and forestry. Shortfalls. IRDP suffered from certain shortfalls. Since unskilled landless laborers had no experience in managing an enterprise, many unviable projects were undertaken, and subcritical investments were made, leading to collapse of these micro-enterprises. Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana SGSY. Considering the shortfalls of the IRDP, the government replaced this program with Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana SGSY in 1999. Considering the non-viability of the enterprise of the poor individual and his or her poor creditworthiness, SGSY focused on groups to lend money and develop micro-enterprises. This scheme involves the organization of the poor into self-help groups or SHGs and are provided with credit, technology, infrastructure and training. Implementation. The SGSY is implemented by the District Rural Development Agencies, DRDAs, with the active involvement of Panchayat Raj Institute, PRIs, banks, line departments of the state government and non-government organization, NGOs. Progress. Currently, the subsidy is given at the rate of 30% of the project cost, subject to a maximum of 7,500 rupees. In respect of SCs and STs and disabled persons, subsidy is 50% of the project cost, subject to a maximum of 10,000 rupees. For groups of Swarojgaris, the subsidy is 50% of the cost of the scheme, subject to per capita subsidy of 10,000 rupees or 1.25 lakh rupees, whichever is less. There is no monetary limit on subsidy for irrigation projects. The Ministry of Rural Development is in the process of redesigning SGSY to implement it in a mission mode for achieving faster and better results. It is proposed to aim for universalization of SHGs, that is, to bring at least one member from each BPL family into the SHG fold in a time-bound manner. A dedicated implementation structure is proposed to be put in place with the National Rural Livelihood Mission at the national level, supported by similar apex bodies at the state, district and sub-district levels in the states. Wage employment programs. Now, let's look at the wage employment programs. These were first started during the 6th and 7th plan in the form of National Rural Employment Program NREP and Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program RLEGP. These two programs were later merged in 1989 into more well-known Jawhar Rojgar Yojana or JRY. The JRY was supposed to produce employment for the unemployed and the underemployed and to improve the village infrastructure and assets. The JRY was revised and relaunched in April 1999 and was named as Jawahar Gram Samriddhi Yojana or JGSY. The secondary objective of the JRY has become the main objective, that is, creating economic assets and infrastructure for the village, and the creation of employment is a byproduct of the main objective. One of the hallmark of these programs was recently launched Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005, MNREGA. It is one of the largest publicized flagship program of government to provide for 100 days guarantee wage employment every year to every household whose adult member interested to do unskilled manual work. The primary objective of the Act is augmenting wage employment. Its auxiliary objective is strengthening natural resource management through works that address causes of chronic poverty like drought, deforestation, and soil erosion, and so encourage sustainable development. The Manarga thus provides a social safety net for the vulnerable groups and an opportunity to combine growth with equity. During the year 2009-2010, an amount of 39,100 crore rupees was allocated under the Manarga, against which 5.25 crore households have been provided employment. Employment was generated of 282.58 crore person days. Social Security Program. The third approach to addressing poverty is to provide minimum basic amenities to the most vulnerable people: house, food, income. In short, a safety net. These are named as Social Security and are meant for those who are at the bottom of the BPL, facing destitution and desertion. One of the main schemes is focused on shelter and rural housing and is called Indira Awas Yojana, IAY. IAY is in operation since 1985-1986 with the basic aim to provide assistance for construction or upgradation of a dwelling, that is housing units, to the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and freed bonded laborers and non-SCs or STs living below poverty line in rural areas. From 1995-96, the IAY benefits have been extended to the widows or next of kin of defense personnel killed in action. IAY is also a part of Bharat Nirman program, under which 60 lakh houses were to be constructed during the 4 years, that is 2005 to 2006 to 2008 to 2009. Against this, 71.76 lakh houses have been constructed under IAY over the period of 4 years, that is from 2005-2006 to 2008-2009, which is more than the target fixed under Bharat Nirman program. Under Phase 2 of Bharat Nirman program, a target of construction of whopping 1.20 crore houses under IAY have been fixed for a 5-year period from 2009-2010 to 2014. In the present form, IAY is one of the popular schemes of the Ministry of Rural Development. The popularity can be attributed to the fact that the scheme enables beneficiaries to participate and involve themselves in construction of their home. Providing houses to poorest also has a positive impact on people's physical and mental health. Once the basic need of housing is fulfilled, citizens develop a sense of opportunity for livelihood, for improving living conditions, and for continuing children's education. Undoubtedly, there is a direct link between a safe and secure housing to better standards of living and reduction in vulnerability.